Hello friends, welcome to our channel Creating Essence. I am Megan.
Where do I look? Okay, hi, I'm Josh.
Thank you so much for stopping by today. I love these videos. They're the ones where Josh joins me. That means there's gonna be a lot of cracking jokes. I cannot keep a straight face. And yeah, we have some questions. I asked on Instagram if anybody had questions for Josh. I actually asked this a couple weeks ago and life happened and I actually didn't film anything for like a week. We appreciate your questions. He loves filming videos.
It's my favorite.
Most of these have to do with the baby.
Okay.
So how did you feel when you found out I was pregnant with baby number 7?
I don't think there was anything different than I normally feel. It's like a...
Well, how do you normally feel?
It's an initial like... I don't... Oh. Okay, sure. Yeah, I guess we'll do this.
That's why we have 7 kids.
Yeah.
Were you surprised? Did you have an inkling?
This is probably the first time that I didn't know before you. I usually pick up on it, and this time I did not. I don't necessarily know why, and I also no longer remember the question. Was I surprised?
Were you surprised?
Was I surprised? No, because there's always a chance it could happen.
It's true.
So it's never really a surprise. It's been done before. We know what causes it.
We do. We get that question a lot. We do know.
So as long as you take part in the actions to create life, there's always a possibility that life will be created.
It's true. Is there anything particularly different about this pregnancy compared to the last ones? Because it's been 4 years since I've had a baby this time.
I think with this one, I feel more financially prepared to handle the additional financial responsibility.
That's
yes,
a nice term for it.
That's a good term for it. In the past, we've definitely struggled, trying to get the proper car seats or getting a car that was big enough to fit this child.
That has been a nice luxury. Having the big van, and it's been like the first time ever that we haven't gotten pregnant and said, oh shoot, we're gonna have to go car shopping now. I hate car shopping.
Yeah.
We have plenty of room.
Really, it's been all right. I had some initial concerns about your health. And how you would handle it. I had some initial concerns about whether I could handle the baby weight that I'll gain. And with the quarantine in place, I'm just being doubly diligent in reverse.
To eat your Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids are delicious and they're full of vitamin C.
Speaking of quarantine, that was another question.
Okay.
How has the quarantine situation affected you personally?
We already live our lives like we are in quarantine. That's what happens when you have a child with immunodeficiencies and another child that every time he pops a mild fever, he has seizures. So we try to prevent exposure as much as possible, which means we live in seclusion all the time.
That's true.
I worked from home 2 days a week anyway. So now I'm working from home 5 days a week. I'm saving money on gas. I don't have much of a morning commute.
That's true.
Roll
out of bed.
You wake me up at about 8 o'clock and I walk into my office, boot up my computer, and then while my email is populating, I go grab some coffee, grab my breakfast, and go sit in my desk. Well, I sit at my desk. I don't sit in my desk. There's not enough space.
The drawers are pretty big.
And it's filled with junk.
Aside from actually getting the baby from the process, what is your favorite part of birth? I knew this was gonna be a tough one.
All right, I'll go with the only thing I can think of, because it's a terrifying thing to take part in, because I have no control, and I can't do anything really to support you other than be there, which is not much of anything.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Yes, my presence is.
If you were
very
not
difficult.
there, my level of ability to cope would be so small.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing that probably is the main thing that I get to witness is the strength that it requires, and the fortitude and willpower to for a woman to push a small child out of their body.
They're not that small.
I mean, small child. I mean, it could be a huge child. I mean, you could be pushing a 4-year-old out. That's a big child.
It's true. Not
So I would say it's a small child. You know what? I think a small child would be considered larger than a baby.
It's true.
So
we just have large babies
yes.
and small children.
So yeah, that's really it. It's just watching the incredible force of nature that takes place. I know I couldn't do that. I stubbed my toe and I want to start punching walls.
Toe stub.
I would have an epidural is first contraction. I would feel a twinge and I'd be like, time to do it. It's only gonna get worse.
What are your feelings in the home birth versus birth center option?
I would like the ability to do a home birth if it's in a very low risk situation. I wouldn't recommend it really for a first birth, because I think there's complications that you won't know about that could come up.
That's why you have a midwife.
But they're human, you know. They can't make everything perfect.
Well, this isn't our first though. This is our 7th.
When your body's ripping in half.
Your body
and
doesn't
your
rip in half.
Sure, let's not count stitches. Which was like
Stop! We don't need to count stitches.
it was like 13 inside. Like, I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, the main issue I have with the water birth is if there is bleeding, it does tend to amplify the appearance and quantity of it.
It does.
Because it's a little horrifying if you're watching your wife push a child out and then everything around her looks like Saving Private Ryan and the storming of the beaches of Normandy.
So how is a birth center? How does a birth center make you feel better about the out-of-hospital birth?
It's not necessarily the birth center versus home birth. It's the proximity to emergency services.
That's true.
That's kind of key in my mind. And for us, we're fairly remote. I mean, the closest hospital would be probably a 35-minute drive, and that doesn't account for, you know, our tiny little county trying to get an ambulance here. So, I mean, they got to get here, they have to get you out of here, and then get on the road. So you're talking probably an hour plus in a situation that could be, you know, not great. Whereas the birth center is 5 minutes from the nearest hospital. So
and it's the area's level 1 trauma center,
yeah,
and perinatal center. So those are pluses.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what it comes down to me, is the proximity to emergency care. Should it be needed, I would prefer that it be available sooner than later.
Good answer. Oh, we're gonna be editing that out.
Yeah. Be a professional.
This is when I got in a text message today. How did you really feel about me climbing that tree?
I kept it really G.
You did.
I kept it G-rated. But, I mean, the things that were going through my head was basically her falling out of that tree and landing directly on her stomach and killing the baby, which I thought was just a terrible idea and not worth the risk.
Such a downer.
What I do for my job is analyze risk.
That's true.
That's what my brain does, is I look at situations and I assess the risk. So I'm looking at you in the tree with my child in you, and you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation to get some bees.
There are a lot of commenters that agree with you.
Of course, because I'm right. It's logical.
Is there anything else you'd like to add or say to our friends?
No.
All right.
If I had things to say, I would be in a lot more of these.
Thank you so much for giving us your questions for Josh. If you have any other further questions, put them in the comments below. He loves doing these videos. Send them to me on Instagram, on our Facebook page. Email them. He loves questions.
I don't mind answering the questions.
It's true.
The issue is the video part.
He will type up replies.
I'll be
And
on
back
here
to
if it's necessary.
It's necessary. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us today. As always, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to hang out for more. We'll see you again soon.